Small talk is everywhere, and sometimes it's really awkward. The other day, Rosemay and I were having a conversation about an experience she was having, and mid-conversation, I said, "Wait, we need to record this."
So, in today's episode, we're breaking down how to skip the fluff and start connecting in a way that actually feels good. You may hear what sounds like two different sessions, but it's really because we were literally like in a conversation, in a meeting, and we just hit record. So, what you're going to hear is real time, real time conversation between Elizabeth and I.
Welcome to Communication Skills for Working Women. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Rose May. Do you find yourself second guessing or avoiding conversations because you're worried about being misunderstood?
You're not alone. On this show, we're sharing tangible tools for assertiveness, emotional resilience, and real-life communication wins and fails.
Let's sharpen our communication together. Went to this Unity block party. And it was so fun. And there were so many great people. And just kind of, there was a bunch of performances. And I have a lot of people who are like acquaintances. Some are like friends, but they're mostly acquaintances. Anyways, this is like an outdoor venue. It's everybody's jamming, the music's loud. And I want to connect with people, but I don't want to do the small talk. So I was like, what am I going to do? Because I can't get away from the small talk. I have to small talk with these people. And it's not that I don't want to, it's just I hate small talk. It's stupid. It's pointless to me. It's not genuine. It's inauthentic. So I took this lady's advice and I just asked different kinds of questions. Like I asked two people, what are you working on? Like instead of saying, hey, how you doing? I might have said something along those lines, but I just said like, what are you working on? Or I think I even asked someone like, what's something new that you're working on or what's new in your life, right? And we had the best conversations. And it wasn't like an over lunch conversation because again, it was outside, it was loud, we were right next to the stage, so not conducive for like a lengthy conversation. But enough of a conversation that I didn't feel like I was small talky. And I felt like in those moments, we were actually like I was genuinely connecting with someone. Because every time I see them, and I don't see them frequently, but I see them enough, it's the same questions. How are you doing? What's going on? Blah, 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 right? And I literally would rather claw my eyes out than Elizabeth. If I see someone in the grocery store, I will run in the opposite direction and hide in an aisle so I don't have to engage in small talk. I hate it that much.
I understand. And sometimes small talk too goes to sometimes painful questions, right? Like, how's your
Yeah.
family? How's your family? Well, guess
No.
what? Like, my family's a hot
Welcome.
mess right now. Or, like you're like, I'm away from my family. That's why I'm here. Or what's going on at work? I don't want to talk about work. I'm not at work. Like, and so these more open-ended questions like, what are you working on? You could,
Yes.
I'm working on this awesome project at work, or I'm doing this project at home, or I'm working on this personally. Like, it's just so open yet genuine that
Yes.
you can go anywhere with it. And my guess is you took time before you went there to prepare yourself. You were clear. You had clarity on what you wanted there. You hate small talk. So you
Mhm.
prepared yourself to have a different type of experience.
Yes. Yes. Which is funny because okay, so I don't know that that was intentional. I think that I had been reading this book all week and it was like at the forefront of my mind,
Mm.
but I actually don't think that I asked those questions intentionally. I think they just happened to be there because I was already reading about them. And I was like, oh, imagine what a conversation could be like if I was actually intentional. Like one of my friends, I guess like friend acquaintances, he just got like a major role in a major performance. And I wanted to ask him like, what are you most excited about? Instead of just saying like, congratulations, that's great, blah, 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 blah. Right. I did say that because you kind of got open with that. But I wish in that moment I had thought to say, we're like even just asking him about rehearsals or asking him about like how long he's wanted to play this role, right? And what this role, like how is he going to interpret this role? Those are things that could be like that you could talk about in those moments, right? Where you're not like necessarily like over lunch or dinner. But anyways, we were interrupted in that conversation and I left thinking, oh man, I could have asked some questions that were a little bit more connecting and allowed him to talk
Mm,
about, something that was meaningful and important to him and didn't feel like it was lame.
right. I going into these small talk scenarios are always anxiety producing for me. I have to prepare before I go. I'm not quite as smooth as you are. I have to like think about where I'm going, think about what I'm doing, and then I literally even sometimes I will like look up questions or I'll like write a list of questions down and I literally will review it before I go into especially like a meeting before meetings when you're having those little conversations ahead of time where you don't have time, no one really wants to be there, it's at an inconvenient time, you have other things like I really have to prepare myself or I slide in right before the meeting starts because
That's what
so
I do.
is that painful for me.
I avoid, oh, now everybody's gonna know my secrets. The reason why I am late to every meeting is because I don't want to engage in small talk. I will walk in at 9:02, so I don't have to talk to anybody. I do it at church too. I walk in, church starts at 10:30. I walk in at 10:31 every single week, so I don't have to engage in small talk. I feel like I've just revealed something that is very deeply
Someone's taking notes saying that was the
no,
best kept secret. They're like, oh, that's what I'm gonna do.
no, don't do that. I'm saying don't do that. No, I'm not.
I
I'm not
really
saying that.
okay. One of Rose will often talk about how I will talk to anyone, but that is because I think about before I leave the house how I want my interactions and impact to be with other people. But I will literally leave and be like, okay, everyone I interact with is going to feel better after they interact with me. Now, that is not the case. And I know I'm not responsible for other people's feelings.
I know that's very thoughtful though, because I don't think about anybody. I'm like, how can I avoid all of these things? Okay, go.
But that is literally what I will do before I leave. And I'm like, I'm meant to give light to other people.
Mm,
And so that's part of the reason I talk to people. But it's very intentional. Like it is thought through because the small talk is painful and it's still painful even when I have an intent and a plan and questions, it's still painful, like it's still very uncomfortable for me. Painful might be a strong word.
it's painful for me. This is why it's painful is because I don't feel like it's genuine, and genuineness is a value to me that is so important. Authenticity is about, and the standard like, hey, how you doing? Like, we all know nobody cares. And
Right.
if you do tell how you're actually doing, it makes everything awkward.
It's true.
So I
I mean, it's very true. We're dealing with some tough stuff at our house right now. And when someone's like, how's your family? I'm like, oh, you don't want to know. And they're like, you're right.
yeah,
I don't want to know.
exactly, exactly. Or you actually say what's going on, and not everything is bad, but you'll actually
Right.
say, well, I'm really struggling at work, right? Like here are the lousy people I'm working with, and this happened, and this did, and this work, and nobody knows what to say. It's an awkward situation. So, what we're going to share with you today, pulled directly from Vanessa Edwards' Captivate Concepts. So, the title of her book is Captivate. And she is a researcher on what she refers to as the science of people. She studies nonverbal communication, inflections of voice, different aspects of communication that are sometimes hidden.
Before we get into some skills, we want you guys to remember to really get clear. What do you want to accomplish during that pre-board meeting or the small talk at the doctor's appointment or that parent-teacher conference? Who needs your encouragement or who needs greater connection to help move things along at the office or in life? Because when you get clear on what you want to accomplish, you will begin to recognize what skills you need to develop or freshen up on?
So, skill number one, conversational sparks. That's what that's how Vanessa has identified them. So instead of the boring kind of perfunctory, how's work? Or different questions like that, swap some of those boring questions with curiosity driven prompts. So an example of that might be, what's been the highlight of your week so far? And the reason that this works so well is because not only does it spark dopamine in our brains, but it opens the door to real stories. It gives you an opportunity to actually learn something about someone as opposed to the mundane of everyday life, the questions that they probably ask when every person walks up, or maybe many people walk up to the desk who are scheduled for an appointment, or people walking by, or other coworkers, right? This really, it really gives you an opportunity to learn something new about someone, or even just have a snapshot of what's going on in their life that week. So that is skill number one.
And I think in the story that you had shared, even you retelling it to me, because it was like the day after you
Mhm.
had been at that get together, I would even say it sparked like a dopamine hit for you even the next day, telling it again, that
Yeah,
there was real connection there
yeah.
and it really made an impact on you and probably that other person as well.
Yeah, I didn't feel lame, like for once in my life, having a conversation with someone. And again, it wasn't even like it was a stranger. It was like someone that, a couple people that I know relatively well. It's just, yeah. So it was great. It was really great, actually.
The next skill that we learn about in this book is called the highlighter hack. So when someone shares something positive, highlight it. So an example of this would be, wow, you really light up when you talked about that project. Tell me more. This is a skill that I have really honed in my coaching practice that I really observe my coaching clients. And when they start talking about something and you can actually see them light up, they'll sit up a little bit straighter, they get excited
Yes.
about something.
Yeah.
I really try to point that out to them. Hey,
Yeah.
I noticed you got really excited about this
Yeah.
because sometimes we don't even realize these little shifts within ourselves. And so I try to point that out. And then I do try to follow up with tell me more. That is, as you guys know by now, that is a phrase that I will use. Tell me more. So people feel seen when they hear this, they feel validated, and you begin to feel a connection because you have said, oh, I recognized this kind of behavior change in you, even though it can be really subtle sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're talking about this in the context of small talk, but I think this is just a good skill for noticing and for feeling seen in any conversation. So whether it's small talk or just a conversation you're having with your kids or a coworker or I don't know, sometimes the Amazon guy occasionally will run into each other and we have like a very brief conversation, which up to this point was awkward because it was small talk, but even just having like those 3 minutes to just get to know someone and recognize what really what a driving force for them or something that's really exciting for them can be really, really connecting.
So Rosemary and I did a photo shoot a while ago. And wouldn't you say that most of that photo shoot we were having small talk with the photographer? You knew
Yeah,
him, so you
yeah,
had a little bit deeper connection, but I
yeah,
didn't.
yeah, I would
And
say that.
he was asking me questions like, "Oh, tell me about your kids," or "Oh, how's your family?" Like, but he was very observant
Mm-hmm.
of me, and this is just reminding me of the highlighting. Like, he asked me a question and how I responded. He said, "Oh, that's really hard for you, huh?" And I was like, "Oh." And then he shared something about that question that was hard for him. And it did do all those things for me. Like I felt seen, I felt validated, and I felt
Mm-hmm.
connected to him
Mm-hmm.
because he observed it. So it doesn't just have to be like a positive highlight. It can be something like,
Right.
"Oh, that was hard. That's hard, huh?"
Yeah, and I love that you just shared that experience because I think that leads us to the next one, which is the thread theory. So look for threads of commonality in your conversation, just as our photographer was able to identify one that I'm assuming the expressions in your face changed enough that he was able to recognize that that was whatever it was you were discussing was difficult, but then he was able to share a commonality, right? And so shared that part of his life as well, which really helped to build, some rapport. And I think that's really important, especially in his profession. But I think in just connecting, like building a rapport with someone is a huge part of being able to connect, right? The trust, and even if it's a trust that extends itself to just shared experiences, that can be very, very powerful in so many ways. I forgot about that. I remember that now. I remember when that happened. And yeah, that was kind of a special moment, I think.
I agree. It went from it could have just been like, oh, that was a nice photo shoot to
Mm-hmm.
something that was actually really meaningful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This week, we want you to try one of these hacks. So use a conversation spark with someone new, highlight a strength you notice, or pull a thread of commonality. And then pay attention to how the energy shifts in the conversation. It's really fun because it makes you feel like you're clear on what you want to accomplish. And it's neat to see how really impactful you can be, what type of impact you can have in a conversation, even a simple one.
Also, yeah, and it also gets rid of the awkwardness of small talk. I can't tell you how much I am appreciative of being able to learn that there are ways that I can get around the awkwardness that I feel in this situation. Also want to share with you that we have some new things coming up, and we're going to start sharing that on the podcast in the next couple weeks. So make sure you don't miss out. Connect with us on Instagram at Communication Skills for Women, or send us an email at communicationskillsforwomen@gmail.com. Or you can check out our website at communicateconnectthrive.com. Until next time, speak clearly and listen bravely. When you feel confident in your communication, everything changes.
We'd love to hear your wins, failures, and insights on Instagram at Communication Skills for Women. Leave a review and connect with us.
Until next time, speak clearly and listen bravely.